You can argue how they interpret it, but here's the bottom line. They're dead wrong, and they're dead wrong for America.
A panel of judges covering Tennessee and the entire Sixth Circuit ruled the current ban on bump stocks is unconstitutional. Critics have long pushed to keep a bump stock ban in place.
In a split decision, the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down a Trump-era ban on bump stocks for firearms.
Supreme Court overturns bump stock ban. The U.S. Supreme Court recently struck down a regulation classifying semi-automatic rifles with bump stocks as machine guns, which are generally prohibited under federal law. This rule was enacted after the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting. Justice Clarence Thomas, writing the opinion, emphasized that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives exceeded its authority with its prohibition, highlighting limits on the executive branch's power to address gun crime. Justice Thomas, known for his strong defense of Second Amendment rights, argued that bump stocks do not convert semi-automatic rifles into machine guns. He explained that with a bump stock, each shot still requires the shooter to release and re-engage the trigger, unlike a machine gun's continuous fire capability. Thomas stated, nothing changes when a semi-auto rifle is equipped with a bump stock. Between every shot, the shooter must release pressure from the trigger and allow it to reset before re-engaging the trigger for another shot. The ruling in Garland versus Cargill was decided along ideological lines with a 6-3 split. The case centered on the definition of a machine gun under a 1986 law, which describes it as a weapon that can fire multiple shots automatically with a single trigger function.
It's a horrible decision. It's nonsensical. The cyclic rate of fire is similar to that of a submachine gun. A bump stock clearly turns a semi-automatic rifle into a submachine gun. The trigger is pulled once, and the explosive action of the cartridges keeps firing the weapon. The Supreme Court just, lost their common sense.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit previously sided with Michael Cargill, a Texas gun shop owner who challenged the ATF's bump stock rule by stating that bump stocks do not fit this definition. The Biden administration's appeal to the Supreme Court led to this decision. In her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor argued that the decision essentially puts bump stocks back into civilian hands, posing a public safety risk. She used a vivid analogy saying, "When I see a bird that walks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, I call that bird a duck." She maintained that a semi-automatic rifle with a bump stock functions like a machine gun because it fires multiple shots with a single trigger pull. The White House and gun control advocates expressed disappointment with the decision. President Joe Biden criticized the ruling, calling it a setback for gun safety and urging Congress to ban bump stocks and assault weapons. However, passing such legislation is challenging with Republicans controlling the House and Democrats holding a slim Senate majority. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer echoed Biden's concerns, pointing to the role bump stocks have played in mass shootings and condemning the Supreme Court for what he sees as an extreme agenda. The Trump administration implemented a bump stock ban after the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, where the shooter used bump stock equipped rifles to kill 58 people and injure hundreds more.
So the bump stock itself is an attachment that replaces the butt stock of the rifle.
And then once you pull back, see how that goes back farther than the trigger?
It basically will put your finger on that trigger. And the Second Amendment says it shall not be infringed, and the word infringe means by banning parts on firearms actually is against the Constitution. Shooting what is called plunging fire, which is down on an area, and then basically because he was firing down, use the inaccuracy of that to cover a larger area, which inflicted more damage.
The ATF's 2018 rule classified bump stocks as illegal machine guns, requiring owners to surrender or destroy them to avoid criminal penalties. Michael Cargill's challenge led to the Fifth Circuit ruling, which concluded that bump stocks do not fit the statutory definition of machine guns, prompting the Supreme Court's review and decision.
Big thing is now the motion of the gun is going to reset the trigger each time, or as opposed to you moving the finger, but it's still one shot for each pull. He has a bunch of that in stock, and it does go the other way. then he has to destroy them, and he loses, he loses money doing that.
ATF decision. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives exceeded its authority by banning bomb stocks as machine guns. In Garland v. Cargill, the court upheld the rule of law and separation of powers, countering bureaucratic overreach in imposing new gun controls without congressional approval. This decision is part of a series of judicial setbacks for similar regulations. Brandon Combs, president of the Firearms Policy Coalition, praised the ruling, saying it reins in an overreaching federal government that disrespects Americans' rights. He emphasized that the president cannot change laws based on policy preferences. The ATF's rule targeted devices that assist in bomb firing. This technique involves pushing a rifle forward to activate the trigger using recoil energy to reset it, allowing rapid fire as long as forward pressure is maintained. The rule, effective in 2019, banned stock replacements that facilitate this technique by enabling the rifle's receiver to slide back and forth.
Well, I've got here the actual original brace that this letter was responsive to.
When did Congress pass a law saying pistol braces qualified? This pistol brace was sold in 2012. A guy walked into a gun store, bought it legally, walked out of the gun store with the pistol brace.
And so you had to implement this rule. This brace is exempt from your rule?
The National Firearms Act of 1934 defines a machine gun as a weapon capable of firing automatically more than one shot by a single function of the trigger and includes parts designed to convert a weapon into a machine gun. Justice Clarence Thomas, writing for the majority, stated that a semi-automatic rifle with a bomb stock is not a machine gun because it cannot fire more than one shot per trigger function, nor does it do so automatically. The ATF, therefore, exceeded its authority by classifying bomb stocks as machine guns. For nearly a decade, the ATF maintained that bomb stocks did not turn semi-automatic rifles into machine guns. On more than 10 occasions, the ATF concluded that rifles with bomb stocks could not automatically fire more than one shot per trigger function. The ATF reversed its stance after the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, where bomb stock-equipped rifles were used to kill 58 people. President Donald Trump then instructed the ATF to impose a ban by passing new legislation.
It does not have a state-level ban on bump stocks, and so now here in Pennsylvania, bump stocks are, for all intents and purposes, totally legal.
What happened in Las Vegas, it is a terrifying thing to consider the great evil that can be committed by one of these. Practicality, a machine gun on the street. So it is something that is scary.
Senator Dianne Feinstein, D. California, had warned that the ATF's ban would face legal challenges because the agency lacked authority to ban bomb stocks without the new legislation. Texas gun shop owner Michael Cargill challenged the rule in federal court after surrendering 2 bomb stocks to the ATF. A U.S. District Court dismissed his case, but the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit agreed with Cargill, ruling that the 1986 law's definition of a machine gun does not apply to bomb stocks. The ATF argued that bomb stocks significantly changed the function of semi-automatic rifles. However, Justice Thomas noted that semi-automatic rifles still fire 1 round per trigger function even with a bomb stock. The court emphasized that the statutory definition hinges on the trigger's function and the number of shots fired per trigger function. Bomb firing requires precise forward pressure, distinguishing it from fully automatic fire. Justice Samuel Alito, in a concurring opinion, stating that while Congress might not have distinguished between a machine gun and a semi-automatic rifle with a bomb stock, the court must follow the clear statutory text. This decision underscores the importance of adhering to the law as written, rather than allowing bureaucratic agencies to reinterpret it.
I mean, it's really a sad time for a court to make that kind of ruling. You can argue how they interpret it, but here's the bottom line. They're dead wrong, and they're dead wrong for America. It's not a machine gun. That's not a silencer. It is a silencer. I mean, I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. Are they now going to be the ATF? Because the country can't work that way.
Background and aftermath. This decision is crucial because it curtails what many perceive as ATF overreach in interpreting and enforcing gun laws. The ATF argued that it had broad discretion to interpret statutes and classify devices like bump stocks as machine guns. This interpretation led to various regulatory actions beyond bump stocks, including attempts to regulate pistol braces, 80% receivers, and other gun-related components. The Supreme Court's ruling challenges this broad interpretation of ATF authority. Justice Clarence Thomas, writing for the majority, emphasized that the statutory definition of a machine gun does not encompass bump stocks because they do not enable a gun to shoot automatically with a single trigger pull. The strict interpretation limits the ATF's regulatory scope, reinforcing the separation of powers and requiring regulatory actions to align closely with statutory language. Moreover, the decision in Garland versus Cargill is likely to influence other ongoing legal challenges against ATF regulations. It sets a precedent that could be cited as cases involving similar ATF actions, such as those concerning pistol braces or homemade suppressors. The ruling underscores the importance of statutory clarity and adherence in ATF regulations, signaling potential setbacks for future expansive regulatory efforts. Looking ahead, the impact of this Supreme Court decision extends beyond bump stocks. It may prompt re-evaluation of other ATF rules and interpretations, potentially stalling future regulatory expansions pending statutory amendments or clearer congressional guidance. The case highlights the ongoing debate over gun regulation in the United States, balancing public safety concerns with Second Amendment rights and the scope of federal agency authority. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.